ExploreNL, where once a month we take you to explore a new area of Western Newfoundland with one of our favorite operators. My name is Gale.
And I'm Dustin Parsons, and this evening we are bringing you to Cox's Cove, where we went on an amazing trip with Darren Park of Four Season Tours.
Yeah, we checked out some cod fishing, fed some eagles.
Yeah, Darren is an eagle whisperer.
Checked out some fjords.
Yes, the double arm fjords of Cox's Cove, penguin arm, goose arm, just absolutely beautiful, stunning areas that a lot of people don't end up going to when they're traveling through Western Newfoundland.
I feel like a lot of people just miss Cox's Cove in general, and it's so unfair because you just can't have an appreciation for it until you're out and about and you see it for yourself.
Absolutely, and Darren operates the only Transport Canada certified Bay of Islands dory, so just getting out in that in itself is quite a cool experience.
Definitely, and he is such a great storyteller. He's an amazing person to be around. He's been doing this forever. He's so passionate about it. It's just a joy to be around him.
Absolutely, and hopefully all that fun that we had that day translates now well through this footage. But yeah, join us on this day that we spent with Darren Park and Four Season Tours, a bright and early morning out of Cox's Cove.
Four Seasons Tours was our first episode that we filmed for this show, so it was late June, I believe, when we went out, and we took a crack super early. I think we were up at 4 o'clock to try to make it there for 6. So we got all the barnacles out of our eyes and met up with Darren down at the Cox's Cove Fish Plant, which is where he launches his traditional Newfoundland dory for his tours.
And this is Newfoundland's only Transport Canada certified tour dory, which offers a really unique way to see this area. Because it's made with a flat bottom, Darren is able to beach this boat in all kinds of places, including Woman's Cove.
I think one of the most appealing things about Darren's tours, apart from Darren himself, is how safe you feel when you're in his company. Something that I thought I would be nervous of is being out in the ocean in a dory. You know, kind of thinking that that might be a little bit dangerous, but it really isn't. The boat is so much bigger than you think, and Darren is just a master of it, and he only goes out in the best conditions.
I totally agree. I felt extremely safe. As soon as you get in the boat with Darren, it becomes immediately apparent that you're in the hands of a seasoned marine professional.
A seasoned, hilarious marine professional.
Yes, Darren is full of funny stories and really interesting facts about the area. We did manage to capture some of Darren's storytelling on camera. We went out early in the morning because this is your best chance to get the best weather. Even on a windy day in this area, first thing in the morning is almost always awesome. So that's what we set out to do. And as you can see, we had the most perfect weather possible on this boat tour.
I think one of the biggest attracting factors for Darren's tour, it used to be fishing tours. Darren started doing fishing tours, but he's developed so much more than that now. I mean, one of the coolest things that you experience when you're out with Darren, and it happens every single time, is seeing the bald eagles. And so he's made friends with a dozen bald eagles down the bay, and they follow him around. They love him. It's so cool to experience that. You know, they're swooping around, and you'll never miss them. Every tour they're there.
In fact, I just found out on another recent tour with Darren that he actually offers a money-back guarantee. If you do not have a close encounter with an eagle, he will give you your money back.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if he was joking about that, but now it's an actual thing. Because there are so many eagles in this area, Darren knows exactly where they are. And after being out with Darren, you really get a sense of how well these eagles can see. Darren can throw one of these fish in the water on one side of this bay, and from the total opposite side, which is kilometers away, from the top of a tree on the top of a mountain, an eagle sees this, and he immediately flies over, circles around our head, grabs this fish up out of the water, and takes off again. It was absolutely incredible.
Amazing. One of the coolest parts of Darren's tour as well is that he generally takes people to his cabin in Woman Cove. Now, Darren has several cabins around the bay in many of the resettled communities that exist there. But the one in Woman Cove is kind of the one where he brings people for your boil-ups.
Yeah, Darren has a kitchen and a bathroom facility at this location, so it's a great place to stop for a rest. And one of the treats that Darren loves to bust out for people, usually as a bit of a surprise, are fresh local mussels.
And don't forget Anita's baking.
And his wife Anita's lovely cinnamon rolls that he provided to us. And you might think that 8 o'clock in the morning is too early for a feed of mussels, and you'd
be wrong.
It's never too early for mussels, and we enjoyed these things so much. Fresh, salty, and whipped up in about 6 minutes by Darren.
So both of us have been out with Darren multiple times in our lives, but for this episode, you know, there was no holds barred, so Darren had a paddle boat that he probably picked this thing up at the dump. He had no idea if it floated or not, and he let us be the crash test dummies for this paddle boat.
Yeah, he had picked this thing up for his wife and put it behind his cabin, and immediately Autumn and I spotted this thing, and we knew that we were going to give it a rip. And it was super fun. We stayed inside the protected cove because it seemed like the right thing to do, but even just paddling around that little area, we had quite a laugh.
So it's not uncommon to see many things on Darren's tours. You're guaranteed to see eagles, of course, but there's been times where I've seen moose and porpoises, and he has lots of photos of times that he's seen whales. So it's always a pleasant surprise when you go out with Darren. You never know what exactly you're going to experience.
On this tour, we had a chance to drop some lines and try our hand at a few groundfish. The cod fishery in Newfoundland is open at various times, usually on the weekends throughout the summer and into the fall. When the cod fishery is open, Darren offers full cod fishing tour experiences, which usually end up with you coming home with fresh filleted cod. Today, cod wasn't in season. We weren't able to retain any cod, just the few fish that you've seen here that we caught. Darren is very in tune with these eagles. He's also very conscious of the conservation involved when spending time around these eagles. Darren's trips are highly customizable, no matter what you're into. Maybe you like fishing, maybe you don't. Maybe you're into eagle photography, and maybe you're not. Darren's even offered tours where he will bring people who are interested in rocks to different locations that he's found around this area, drop you off on the shore, let you go pick around a little bit. So whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve on a day in boat, Darren is going to make that happen for you.
Another part that I love about tours with Darren is where he's located. Darren is in Cox's Cove, and there aren't a lot of tour operators down that way. So it's a really lovely excuse to go for a drive down the bay. It's beautiful, especially you're going to be going with him early in the morning or just before sunset. So there's always beautiful skies. It's a really enjoyable drive.
A few other cool things you can check out in Cox's Cove when you're done your tour with Darren. There's a lovely waterfalls with a swimming hole that you can enjoy. There's a great diner in the area and lots of wildlife to be seen around the coastline.
When the tide is low, you can also walk along the beach to a resettled community that's just down the road from Cox's Cove.
Yep, and you can see cows in pasture hanging out harmoniously with the few small cabins that are in that area. Where the two main arms of this double-arm fjord join is what Darren called the French Cannonball test site. So as you can see, this cliff has some really unique and noticeable large holes in it, which Darren told us was from cannonballs that would be fired at ships for purposes not known, perhaps testing, perhaps to scare away other ships that were coming in. Local fishermen have recovered loads of these heavy cannonballs from the water just below this cliff, which is a strong signal that that's indeed what caused the holes that you can see.
At the end of the day, if you decide to take the drive to Cox's Cove and experience a tour with Darren, you're going to leave with beautiful memories, perhaps enough fish for your winter, and you're going to have a new friend, because Darren is one of the most genuine and authentic people I've ever gotten to spend time with.
And are you the only like licensed tour operator in these arms now, or?
In the Bay of Islands itself, there's another group that's based out of Binwas
Yeah.
Cove, but I'm a licensed Transport Canada approved dory tour. I'm the only one registered in
Yeah.
pretty well Newfoundland.
Yeah, with
that's
this
doing
type
this-
of boat.
This boat here, the
Yeah.
Newfoundland dory.
Yeah.
And when I set up the company, I mean, we set up the company 4 Season Tours back in 2009, trying to make a living as something you love to do. Well, the Newfoundland dory has been on the go for hundreds and hundreds of years, on the Grand Banks or whatever, and I mean, on the schooners, this is how Newfoundlanders made a living at the dory.
Yeah.
And I mean, to make a tour and make a living at the dory, well, a lot of people pretty well laughed at me from day one.
Yeah.
Well, they're not laughing no more. I
Yeah.
mean, this is it's a unique personal private tour.
Yeah.
It is.
And it means a lot to me. And when you got guests coming, you give them the personal experience and private tour.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, I mean, staycation. I mean, COVID. I mean, everybody thought I was done. Well, that was one of the busiest seasons. I mean, because your personal, your double bubble.
Right. The groups are bigger.
I
and-
mean, small type tour. This seems the trend to be
Yeah.
into now. I mean, all the big
Outdoors.
tour boats last year were shut down.
Right.
I didn't shut down.
Right.
I mean, your personal private tour is unique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means a lot to me, right?
And you can get a lot in a day. I mean, I feel like we've already had a full days of experience. It's only 10:30 in the morning. We caught cod, we saw fjords, we had a feed of mussels.
Yeah.
saw resettled
many
communities.
eagles.
I mean, you got a couple bald eagles
10, 12 eagles.
catching mackerel, catching trout. We seen that next to the ball. I mean,
Yeah.
bald eagles. A few years ago, I mean, cod fishing is pretty well my top tour. But one season was say a slow season, so I'm with bald eagles every day. And I mean, I said, "Boy, listen, let's try bald eagle photography on the website." I didn't realize that there's a lot of photographers in this world.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I mean,
And getting a picture of a bald eagle is like
pretty close up. I mean, you're pretty personal with the bald eagles. They know me personally.
they do.
And I
Yeah.
mean,
follow
I
you
mean that's it,
around.
right? And I mean that means a lot. And I mean, they're not scared of me. They're not scared of my horror story. And I mean,
No, it's actually it seems like the opposite. It seems like they know the dory, and they know that you're coming and probably got something tasty on it.
and it means a lot, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
They follow you around. The eagles have been following us all day here.
But okay, so you're not the only orange dory here, though. So do they follow other people thinking it's you, or do they just know it's you?
well, if you went aboard another orange dory, I can almost guarantee you that will not happen.
That's amazing.
Gotta be this
I
one.
mean,
It's
you
just
know,
this
they
one.
know the number.
Yeah, 152-8001. That's him.
But I mean, I'm sure, bald eagles come close to a lot of other fishermen and boats. I mean,
Sure.
that's,
Yeah.
But you're out here every day.
this is my
Interacting.
environment. This is my back garden. This is my job site. And I mean, they know that, right?
Yeah, they love
Pretty
it.
special spot.
It is amazing.
And I mean, when you're in Woman Cove itself, and I mean, now looking across the bay, 3.3 kilometers, and you're back in your own little community at Cox's Cove. And I mean, you can see this and reach out. So you're located in the harms, in the bay, so you feel safe. And safety is number one with 4 Season Tours. So you're surrounded all by the mountains, by the fjords. So you don't get a lot of wind. There's windy days, but there's certain winds that you can still do your tour, right?
Yeah. So that's good for people who are looking at booking tours and coming from other places because they don't need to worry. There's not a big chance that their tour is going to get canceled. I think you said you only had to cancel once last year.
I mean, last season itself, I mean, the nor'easter is, known all over the Highland, but I mean, you get a northeast wind, it usually is a bad wind. But I canceled one tour last summer pretty well because strong northeast winds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you get strong southwest, well, I mean, I still got 5-6 miles along the shoreline that I can see the eagles or do the fishing. The whales come, the dolphins come. Everything, this is Atlantic Ocean. Even though it's very sheltered and very calm, looks like a pond, this is not a pond. This is Atlantic
No.
Ocean.
In a couple hours, it's not going to look like a pond.
Exactly. It's giving over 50, 60 K today, so
Yeah.
there's a storm wind coming. But you get out early, you get out late in the evening, usually you always got a nice calm sea.
Amazing.
So good in here, man. So peaceful.
Very, very peaceful, relaxing. And when you got a beach pretty well to yourself most times when you come here, that means a lot, right?
Yeah. Just you and the moose.
Peace, quiet, moose,
The mini moose.
eagles, mussels,
Yeah.
low tide, go along the shoreline, pick
So
a
can
few
you pick
blue
mussels
mussels.
here?
up along the shoreline now. Once those points are exposed,
Okay.
I mean the killup beds are there. You pull up a bit of killup underneath the rocks, and the little blue mussel is there, right? So, in the back of the bushes, if you want to walk in there 30, 35 minutes, well, then you're into Womaco Pond. Then if you want a few nice trout for your supper,
Okay.
you can go get some nice trout into the pond. So there's a lot of stuff. Another month or so, if you want to go in the bushes and get some raspberry or blueberry, I mean,
Whatever you're into.
There's
I
always
mean,
something
there's
to be
this-
had
You
here.
know, there's a lot of people don't realize what's at your fingertips, and there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, in Cox's Cove, I got my little potato garden, potatoes, carrots, onion, beets, and I mean, you're living off the land, you're living off the sea. I mean, moose meat. I mean, catch all your fish, your rabbits. So, I mean, I know what I'm eating. I mean, because I mean, pretty well providing everything for the family, right?
Yeah.
From the ocean, from the land, right?
Yeah. Wow, man.
And that means a lot.
It's a beautiful existence. And you, last time I was out with you, I think you said you've lived here forever. You've never not lived in Cox's Cove.
51 years. This is
Yeah.
my hometown, and never ever left. And living a little dream in your own town,
Yeah.
and now make a living, and people come to you. I mean,
Yeah.
that means a lot. Feels good, right?
Yeah. And did you tell me that you've never left
Never off the
Newfoundland?
island, say, right? I mean, 51 years old now, June 26th. So.
And isn't it amazing that you've never left the island, but now you've got friends all over the world?
All over the world,
I mean,
yeah.
and I'm pretty well living there, I mean, nowhere kind of thing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. You're living
from
the
their
dream.
experiences, and I mean, right?
Yeah.
I've got friends from England, from Russia, from China, from UK, wherever,
Yeah.
from Montreal, I mean,
Yeah.
over 15, 20 years. I mean, I've got relationships now that, I mean, I've got probably 90% repeat.
Yeah.
So that means a lot to me inside when you got guests coming back year after year after year.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got one English guest, honest to God, that he got a chalet at Umber Valley Resort, and he comes for a week of holidays every summer for the last 15 years. And 4 mornings out of 7, he's fishing with me.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's out with me 4 mornings out of 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that
Yeah.
means a lot, right?
Yeah.
Even to my house. He've had dinner at my house, had Jig's dinner at the house with my wife. And I mean, Trevor his name is Trevor, and I mean, he's a big part of our, he's a good, really good friend, right?
Yeah.
And this have grown into a lot of relationships, and I mean,
Yeah.
And so how long have you been doing it?
well, we set the company up back in 2009, 4 season tours, but I started out in the Umber Valley Resort days. So, I mean, we're going back now pretty well 20 years, and I was hired as their fishing snowmobile guide with Umber Valley Resort from day one. The resort went bankrupt. The owners from England, Ireland still kept coming. Darren, we're going fishing, we're going snowmobiling with you. So the owners actually, one of my best friends, Tony Francis from England, he said, Darren, you got to set up you guys got to set up your own company. So the English clients that I had they were the ones that more or less pushed me, because I mean, no matter what, you got to make a living.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you got to provide for your family, and
Yeah.
I mean, I've probably had 20 different jobs,
Yeah.
but to go and set up a company in a dory and think that you're going to make a living doing tours in a dory,
Yeah,
well,
in Cox's Cove.
I can understand why most people laughed at me and thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, you can't sit on the Chesterfield, put it that way, and expect
Yeah.
that they're going to come to you.
That's right.
I mean, I'll put in a lot of hard work, and I mean, I got a lot of people help me from hotels, from, I mean, Marble Mountain, Ewan Drive. I mean, there's so many packages, and people help me also, which means a lot. It's one big circle.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I think once anyone's had the chance to go out with you, they quickly realize that
Yeah.
this is an experience they can comfortably recommend to any friend or family, from the safety aspect. Like, we always feel so safe. And I think in a dory, sometimes people might assume that it's less safe or less of a vessel, but I mean, it's so comfortable,
Oh, it's so stable.
so stable.
And the flat bottom, that means a lot with the boat itself. I mean, she's running almost 8 feet wide.
Yeah.
So you got a boat that's 20 feet long and 8 feet wide, a flat bottom. Well, this is a very stable boat.
Aren't these boats, isn't the flat bottom dory kind of like native to Western Newfoundland?
Bay of Islands dory, it's pretty well, that's known all over the Highland. And this dory was built in Benoit's Cove.
So
Right.
why is it that way here? Do you know?
I mean, this goes back to, I mean, the Bay of Islands people that have made a living, and they made a living in a dory in this area.
They just innovated that design.
Yep, and I mean, the sea conditions, I mean, these boats in heavy sea conditions is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the big seiners that come, and I mean, Here's the bigger boats, they're almost like bobbing in the ocean with the 3 or 4 foot seas, and you got this dory next to them, and just
Cutting through.
it's amazing to see this
Yeah.
boat. And I mean, it's all wood, but I mean, it's how she's designed is amazing. How she handles.
It really is. And great to fish from too, with the flat bottom and everything.
Very
Yeah.
stable, right?
Yeah.
So you got no trouble standing up to fish in your position.
Yeah.
And like I said, safety and I mean means a lot. But I mean, you got a stable boat. I mean, 4 guests. I mean, which is your max or whatever. I mean, everybody is comfortable, right?
So that's it. 4 is your max for
4
per
is
trip?
used for the fishing. I mean, you got to be comfortable. You got to get around.
Yeah.
The
I
rods
takes
are
all the
going,
fish
yeah.
off the guest lines, and I mean, the guests just catch the fish, bring it up, and that's it. I look after everything else, right?
Don't even have
Yeah.
to touch it.
Don't no, just take a picture and give it to me, and then it's in the bucket,
Yeah.
right? Just give me that fish. Don't lose that fish.
It's hard for me to imagine what more you could even
Oh my
do to
gosh.
create, like, it's every detail, every step of the way, from the mussels, the fish, the different locations, geology.
Yeah.
Pick your own carrots up there at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, I've had friends that drove, Nita's friends from school board in Corner Brook Library from university, lives in Deer Lake, leaving Deer Lake, coming through the back country on ATV, staying at Aldenview Cabins at the time, needed a couple potatoes and a couple carrots. Well, Darren got a garden in. We're gone. Nobody's home. They come up, grab a few potatoes, take a couple carrots.
Oh yeah, worse than the moose.
Jeez.
So
Man.
they know the garden is there, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
fresh blueberries. We get about 8-10 gallons of fresh blueberries on the property.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
And now the rest of the country knows where your gardens too as well.
Well,
now it's
yeah.
on Google.
So now you're in trouble. Yeah.
We nar blueberry left.
No.
No, if you can give the experience to the people, I mean, just little things.
Yeah.
And little things at the end of the day adds up.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just want, I mean, I just want to give them the ultimate experience. A lot of people don't realize that to me, I mean, I know it might sound a little gross sometimes, but when that fish comes out the water, after I take a picture or whatever, but you got to bleed that fish.
Yeah.
And I mean, and some people say, why are you doing that? Or well, by bleeding the fish, when you get back to the shore, the fish is bled out, and that fillet then is white as driven snow. And I mean, that whiteness itself, I mean,
Yeah.
just look at that. But if you don't bleed it, well, then you got all blood or right through the fillet itself. It
Discolored.
just don't look good,
Yeah.
right?
I didn't know that.
And I mean, you get probably same taste, but I mean that white fillet. I mean I'll give fish away to one of my friends, and I mean he bought fish off a fisherman, and when he called that night and he said, Darren, he said, your fish, and right off the bat I thought it was something,
Something wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, he said, I never seen fish that white before in my life.
Wow.
Because they buy a lot of net fish. I mean, the fisherman sits out the nets and the gill nets, so
They're dead underwater for a long time.
exactly,
Yeah.
and they're smothered.
Yeah.
So that's a different fish altogether. Like Fogle Highland now does the fishery now hand lining. Their fish is top quality, all because of the hand line process and the
Yeah.
bleeding.
Right.
And I mean that you want quality. I mean, bleeding your codfish is means everything, right?
So not all 2 fillets are the same.
Oh no. I mean
There's
no.
details.
Exactly. I mean, it's only simple little detail that bleeding the fish, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when you're looking for top quality, well,
Yeah.
that's where you gets it from. I had one lady one day, boys. I mean, I know I pretty well does the same tour, same route, same pattern, whatever. That's it. That's the way you go. Darren, don't you ever get bored of doing the same tour over and over and over? I mean, I think she probably understood when I looked at the look I
Yeah.
gave her, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
lady, I mean, come on.
Do
I
you see
mean,
this?
Boys,
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
what I'm working with here.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. There's
Yeah.
no 2 days the same. I know it's the same location, same spot, but
No. I mean,
tomorrow, like I could be with the feeding frenzy of 100 dolphins again.
yeah.
I could be with the sea turtle. I could be with the beluga. I mean, boys, the humpback whale, the minke whale, the sharks come here, the tuna come here. Plus, you got different people. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah, you're always dealing with different people. You never know what
Yeah.
you're gonna get.
it's nice to have repeats, but I mean, that's my. But when you get all these new guests coming, and I mean, you're living their experience and meeting people from all over the world. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It's amazing, man. think you're quite a lucky man.
I
Yeah.
feel very lucky, very fortunate. And all these little communities, they were all resettled back in the 60s.
Yeah.
So there's around 6 or 7 in Goose Arm, Penguin Arm, Brace Cove, Woman Cove.
Yeah.
There's families living there, say, right? I mean, nothing against the community. I love the people over there, but like I know some days you probably can't understand me. I talk fast, gets excited, but the climbers, I cannot understand them. Honest to
Oh
God.
my God.
It's mental. It's crazy. Boy, it's 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
Your own
right?
language.
Yeah, it is a little cod. Nice. Hi, baby.
Look how nice and white, right? Really good sign. Nice and plump, so that means nice and fade around.
Come on, Dustin.
Probably my epileptic Caitlin tactics now.
Oh my gosh.
Turn around to the young yeah.
Dustin. This is what you're supposed to
The
be
winner.
catching.
That's the winner.
Beautiful. Wow.
Now I just need to 2 pounds in.
There you go. Yep. Look at that.
Oh, you did it.
So, but if you want to see some like marine life and eagles and
Resettled community.
resettled communities,
There's a
places
lot of
no one
stuff here,
goes.
boy. Cannonball site, right? Double
Yeah.
Arm Fjord. Kitchen
Yeah.
cod for supper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, in 2-3 hours, we can, muscle boil it, whatever.
yeah,
But I mean, there's a lot of here, right?
Yeah.
The old woman's nipple.
yeah.
I'll
You can't
always
miss
say,
it.
well, when you're focused on her, right?
Yeah.